Hello, how are you doing today? I go by Fiadh. I'm an energy and spirit worker, Reiki master, and healing arts practitioner. And today, what I wanted to offer was a distance spirit medicine and Reiki session to support anyone, wherever they are, whoever chooses to receive this healing. Specifically working with the healing energy of an ally I've started working with, which is the Destroying Angel mushroom. That's its common name. That's what I'll just refer to it as instead of the Latin name. And the theme that is coming through as I began working with this Destroying Angel mushroom spiritually is all about kind of being in the threshold, dissolving barriers, dissolving separation, and generally clearing out any kind of ego distortions we might be experiencing. These might be like blind spots within our ego that we aren't aware are impacting us, but they're still showing up in our lives, in our actions, in our frames of reference, in a skewed, unhealthy way. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. I'll kind of use an example just for myself. As I was meditating with this, I was feeling this sensation and kind of going into this very floaty feeling and becoming aware of where I am experiencing this feeling of jealousy or competition with anyone, and how that is impacting my self-esteem, how I treat others, how I show up in the world, my relationships with others, and of course my relationship with myself and my self-worth. Speaking very generally here, but I hope that kind of helped clear things up a little bit. And my one little side note before we get into this healing, when we're working with the Destroying Angel mushroom, quite a name, if you can't guess from the name, I'm going to be working with this purely metaphysically, as a spirit ally, as an energetic ally, respecting this mushroom's boundaries and respecting your boundaries. Please do not ever work with these mushrooms or any of the mushrooms in this family on a physical level. They are highly, highly, highly poisonous and often deadly. So even in very small amounts of consumption, so just generally, an all-white mushroom, if you see an all-white mushroom or any mushroom that you don't recognize, don't try and eat it. Don't try and make a tincture out of it. Don't consume its physical properties. It will not be good for you. And with all of that being said, I'm going to center myself, focus my energy, begin a journey of meeting with this mushroom ally as well as channeling some Reiki to help support us, to support you in getting into a space of peace, of healing, of maybe being in an in-between space where you can better shed light on any kind of distorted, egoic thinking patterns you might be engaging in. So please rest up, get yourself comfortable, and I'll begin the session. Just taking a moment to scan your aura, to connect to the energetic body, respecting your own personal boundaries. What feels comfortable for you. Sometimes with energy work, especially if we're going deeper into subjects or there's larger blind spots or blocks, there could be a pushing and a pulling, a expansion and a contraction of energy, a bit of a resistance. Energy work is never ideally super forceful and intrusive right away. Because that space isn't really conductive for healing or for relaxation. Into the heart space, I'm feeling the most heat. Going outward. There might be a bit of a mask of joy, at least for someone here, that we're putting on. That kind of energy of, oh, it's fine, I'm fine. Maybe you just never learned how to sit in discomfort. I'm feeling, as I'm just like sweeping through, moving through, it's almost like there's that double layer of you pretending or putting on this front or repressing the negative emotions basically blocks yourself from experiencing the true emotion of joy. Because if you're constantly covering up hurt or unhappiness or a need with a front of joy, then you're never going to be able to go under the layer to feel real joy, which makes sense. As I'm doing this, I just keep seeing the, the comedy and tragedy masks. I think I have some in my closet over there, actually. Actually, going to go back down to the roots, to the base, to your spine. I'm feeling stiffness and like carpal tunnel symptoms and heat in my right hand. This would be my receptive hand because I'm left-handed. Into the sacral, we're clearing out just the inability to hold space for negative emotions. I'm feeling this more of like the sensation of you don't know how to process other people experiencing negative emotions. It makes you a bit uncomfortable, so you might kind of gloss over or have trouble empathizing, just feeling separate from others. Not to shame people who actually do have difficulties empathizing. I understand there's a lot of reasons why people do have that. But just like not being willing or able to hold space for others. It doesn't help you because it blocks you from connecting with others as well. Actually going to go into your back, your mid back. I use this obsidian. I love obsidian, especially for the solar plexus and really anything to do with the digestion of information, processing, the boundaries between the self and how we view ourselves versus the information we take in that might counteract how we view ourselves. For the good and the bad. Not all contradictory information is bad for us. Would you like to get on my lap? Okay. Just moving in to help support a healthy ego, a healthy sense of identity. calming down the mind a little bit, calming down, being able to have a healthy sense of identity, and also understanding where sometimes we just have distorted thinking about ourselves. Going into this kind of high heart, the space between the heart and the throat. Feeling that in my back. There's this disconnect between the true self and the idealized self. Needing to accept or be a little bit more at peace with the present moment, not trying to project an idea. I think this is like definitely a thing that we see a lot now skewed in notions of manifestation, where there's a bit of bypassing, a bit of ego, of needing to be at this kind of aesthetic, picture perfect. This also conflates with, the rise of social media, of mass consumerism and just general media consumption, being this idea of yourself versus living as yourself. And this can show up in so many ways. Just calming through. This is also included in spirituality. This idea that even in healing, and I've had this before, we see this a lot in healing communities, this idea that it's being healed as being like this picture perfect, idealized vision board being that is entirely separate than you and is just kind of like live this perfect, glamorous lifestyle that you visualized. But there's so much fear and pressure surrounding that, and often an impossible standard to set. And it's just deeply rooted in shame at its core. That's my belief, at least. And shame and fear and comparison and jealousy and competition. When you're overly trying to free yourself from the ego, from your own, just like, when I use the word ego, I just mean our core human identity of how we perceive the world, in our structure of how we navigate the world. Which is our tools for survival. And then going deeper into that, just our identity, our sense of self. Just sit for a moment in this threshold. What would it be like, just for this moment, to experience just true peace of who you are, of where you are, free from the illusion that you're completely alone and separate, that you're so different than all the rest, and you are, but you're not. You're not alone out there. Your experiences are your own, but they're not entirely separate from everyone else's. A lot of other people have and are going to experience the same things you have. That's okay. It's a good thing, actually. Every single one of us is entirely unique and special, but we're not all that special. Just make space for that kind of paradox. I don't mean any of this as an insult. It's just, I find this helpful for myself to think about. And it's what's being channeled through. Actually, I'm going to use this one. This one is getting a little bit wilted. That's okay. She's still pretty. Beautiful. Asking this plant spirit to help finish cleansing and sweeping your aura. Just bringing in some softness and light. Shaking free any last stress, fear, anxiety that may have arose. Pardon if that triggered anything, that session triggered anything within you. I have a feeling it might have for some people. Whenever we're doing anything that challenges our ego, it hurts. It's not an easy feeling. But hopefully, there's some compassion. There's not judgment there. Your head, thigh, to your jaw. Throat. Your heart. Your shoulders. Noticing any energy stuck there. Back down your heart. Your solar plexus. Just down your spine in general. Sacral. Very gently into your roots. Sweeping, brushing down your legs. and through your feet to help ground down and clear this energy. Thank you, beautiful flower. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope this session served you well. If you want to keep up with my other videos, with my other healing sessions, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. And your support means the world to me, and I'm so glad I could be a little part of your journey today. Have a wonderful rest of your night.